students, welcome to my EVS class. This is Shumi Roy from Techno India Group Public School, Shiliguri, and today we are going to continue our chapter 7, Effects of Human Activities and Population Growth. Now, firstly, we will just recap our previous knowledge, what we have learned in our previous class. In our previous class, we have learned about human activities of consumptions, how human activities are consuming our natural resources. Then we have learned about population growth and its impact. We have learned that due to population growth, there are many environmental problems. Then we have learned the problems due to population growth in agriculture. Today we are going to learn about more such problems of environment due to population growth. One more impact of population growth is harshening of energy. As we know, energy is the capacity to do work, and in our body this capacity comes from food. More population means demand of more food production, and more food production through agriculture, animal and industries means demand of more energy. We need more amount of energy to feed more mouth because of the increasing population. Diesel, petrol and also the electricity which is consumed for running farm machineries, combines, pump sets and tube wells are taken from natural environment. Industries consume too much of fossil fuel like coal, diesel, petrol and natural gas for running heavy machines. As electricity is a principal energy consumed in industries, and electricity is generated either by burning coal or by running electric generator that further consume fossil fuel. By this, we have understood that due to the increase in the population, we see that most of the energy comes from burning fuels in every field of human activities: agriculture, industry, commerce, transport, telecommunication. In all the fields, the energy is being consumed. Wide range of services rendered at household sector also burn fuels for producing energy. Fuels as wood and fossil fuels, all of these fuels are running short. These are to be finished after some times. Thus, a time of energy crisis is overhead. Energy is the basics of industrial civilization. Modern civilization can no longer exist without energy. We see that most of the energy comes from burning fuel in every field of human activities. All of these fuels are running short. Now let us discuss about sources of energy. Sources of energy are classified into two broad groups: primary source and secondary sources, and renewable and non-renewable sources. Now let us discuss these sources one by one. Now let us firstly define what is primary source of energy. Primary source of energy are those sources of energy that are obtained from the natural environment. The first primary source of energy are fossil fuels like coal, oil and natural gas. The second primary source of energy is nuclear fuel like uranium and thorium. The third primary source is geothermal energy, that is energy stored in underground stream. The energy stored in underground streams are converted into electricity. So this is the primary source of energy. The next primary source of energy is magnetothermodynamic power. A magnetothermodynamic generator is a thermodynamic generator that converts and utilizes and transforms thermal energy and kinetic energy directly into electricity. Magneto-hydrodynamic power generators are different from traditional electric generators. in that they operate without moving parts to limit the upper temperature. Wind energy produced through the application of wind power in windmills. This wind energy, which is converted into electricity in windmills, is also a primary source of energy. Tidal energy or energy derived from tidal waves are also primary source of energy. Last, solar energy or the energy derived from sunlight falling on earth. Solar energy is also a primary source of energy. Now let us discuss about secondary sources of energy. Secondary sources of energy are those sources of energy which are derived from primary source like electricity. Electricity is obtained from coal, which is a primary source, and as we know, coal is extracted out of coal mines, and this coal from the coal mines are used to extract electricity, which is a secondary source of energy. Now, next is we will discuss about renewable sources. Firstly, we will define renewable sources. Renewable sources are those energy sources that are inexhaustible. Tidal water, wood, sunlight, wind, biomass, and geothermal energy are renewable sources of energy. This energy can be renewable, means it can, once you have used it, you can get it back. So tidal water, the energy which we get from tidal water or wood or sunlight, which is renewable. Today you have used it, again tomorrow you can again use it. So it's a renewable source of energy. Next is non-renewable sources of energy. Non-renewable sources are finite sources that can be exhausted through use. All the fossil fuels are non-renewable. Non-renewable sources of energy means those uh, energy sources which are exhaustible. Like for example, oil. The crude oil which we are getting, it takes millions of years to make a crude oil. But if we are going to use it continuously, it is going to end. Within a short period of time, the oil is going to end. Same happens with the coal, the same with natural gas and nuclear energy. We have a fixed amount of these sources, and if we are going to continuously use it, it is going to get exhausted. Students, I think that you have understood what is renewable and non-renewable sources of energy. Now let us discuss the current scenario of energy crisis. We know with the development of science and technology in the heavily populated world, human beings are exploiting natural resources in greater speed for meeting their energy demands. But the earth contains limited quantities of fossil fuel which are going to be finished in near future. Many countries have scarcity of fossil fuels. Hence, they have to import fossil fuels in order to run their mills and factories and to produce electricity. All type of development will become standstill if there is no fossil fuel, as they are based on heavy industries and latest means of communication. Means with the current rate of consumption, the fossil fuels are going to end very soon. We are soonly going to face the energy crisis. This is the rate of world energy consumption. Okay, we are using all our energy sources to a large extent, and within a very short period of time, this all will be finished. One more impact of population growth is on housing. Human beings need shelter to protect them against various types of environmental changes and from enemies. For this, they construct houses of different types using different types of housing materials. The permanent shelter of human habitat is called as housing. Housing requires land and construction material, both of which can be obtained from the natural environment, either directly or indirectly. Growth in human population needed more and more land and more construction material for constructing houses. But the land and other natural resources are limited. When all the open land is utilized, cultivable land is used for making houses. The area of land for agriculture is reduced. Since agriculture involves fruit production activity, it cannot be reduced. Hence, more and more forest land is cleared to bring under cultivation and to compensate the area of land used for housing. Since population continues of growing, more and more cultivable land is brought under housing. As more and more land is brought under housing, for that more and more forest land is cleared and brought under cultivation, whereas areas of wetland and lowland near cities have been reclaimed and brought under housing. So these are the problems due to the population growth. Due to population growth, we are continuously clearing the cultivable land and making houses there. And as we are using the cultivable land for making houses, we are clearing the forest for cultivation. And that too, with the growing population is not enough, then we are started building our houses in wetland and lowland near cities. Students, I hope that you all have understood what is housing. Now let us discuss the types of housing. Types of housing. Early man lived in caves and on trees. Gradually, they started making houses of reeds and grasses. Later, houses began to be made of mud with roofs, made of twigs of trees and leaves. When man learned the art of making bricks, pakka houses came into existence. With the development of civilization, shape and size of house were changed considerably, keeping in the view of climatic condition and number of people in the family. Shapes and sizes of house constructed for human habitat depends on the type of climate and other environmental condition of the place. Earlier, the primary concern of making houses remained limited to the need of shelter, protection from environmental factor and enemies and privacy. But modern man thinks about various other advantages before planning to construct a house. Today, following points are to be kept in mind while planning construction of house. Location of the house, environment of the area, and the potential of investment. These three factors are kept in mind before planning or to construct a house. Location of the house, which includes proximity of the place of work, shopping, business, school, and society. Environment of the area, which includes public safety and housings. And potential of investment. Everyone doesn't have the potential to invest in the house. So, depending upon their potential of investment, they choose a house. Now, let us discuss some problems of housing due to population growth. The fast growth of human population created scarcity of food, finance, and resources. It forced people of rural areas to migrate to cities and to earn more. With the start of industrial revolution by 19th century, demand for labor and other manpower increased in urban areas. Hence, people in large numbers moved towards cities, leaving their basic work of farming and producing food. Those who could not find a place or house on rent or could not afford to pay rent accumulated in abandoned government buildings. Rural people who could not find a place or house on rent or afford to pay rent accommodated in abandoned government buildings, railroad yards, and factories in a haphazard manner. Soon they were subject to scarcity of water and no sanitation facilities. In big cities, large number of men, women and children live in very insanitary conditions in a very short area. Such type of human habitats further create some new problems like spread of disease, spread of corruption and crimes of various types. One more changes due to population growth is the industrial development. The development through setting up industries is called as industrial development. Industries use different types of raw materials and consume energy to produce new. Usually, large number of people work in industries and earn their living. Thus, industries solve the problems of unemployment at one hand, and it contributes the nation's economic development on the other hand. Industries usually have various types of machines that run on fuel. Principal fuels consumed in industries are coal, diesel, kerosene, and natural gas, and all fossil fuels. Accidents that occur sometime in industries are very serious. They claim lives of large number of people and often cause long-lasting effects. Bhopal tragedy of 1984 was the world's worst industrial disaster. On the night of 3rd December 1984, thousands died as 30 tons of highly toxic methyl isocyanate gas leaked from the Union Carbide factory in Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh. The story of Chernobyl nuclear power plant did not end with the tragedy of 1986. There was a second fire that broke out in 1991 in the turbine hall of reactor number 2, and the last operating reactor did not fully shut down until 2000. So these are two examples which claims that there can be long-lasting effects of accidents which are caused in industries. Industries usually have various types of machines that run on fuel. Industries utilize various types of raw material to produce new items. The production of new items involves the production of various byproducts, which are useless and thrown out as a waste. Huge quantities of gases, liquid waste, and solid waste are produced as a byproduct in industries, and those products are to be disposed finally. Waste from industries pollute air, water, and land. They are responsible for the spread of various types of diseases. Workers working in industries often suffer from occupational diseases. The poisonous water released from industries into rural water bodies intoxicates the entire system, causing death of aquatic animals and disease in humans. Another impact of human population on industrial development is the cause of automobile industries. More and more automobiles have been manufactured. They are manufactured because there are people to purchase them. Everyone tries to move through his or own car or scooter instead of going for any share option. Under these conditions, the traffic jam are very frequent. The traffic on road is increasing day by day. Vehicles that are in traffic jam produce more air pollution. Besides producing air pollution, they also produce noise pollution by blowing their horns. Our automobiles causes all sort of pollutions, whether it might be air, water, noise or land. There are various other areas of social activities where natural resources are exploited without any thought of protection of environment. Festivals are one of them. Noise pollution during pujas and public affairs cause serious losses to the community health besides disturbing studies of examinees. Villagers cut and sell forest wood and earn money. Tribals practicing shifting cultivation or zoom cultivation burn forests to grow crops and move away after harvesting. They burn another part of forest for growing the next crop. Thus, they cause severe damage to earth and air by burning forest. Political parties spread solid waste pollution by using banners and handouts made of plastic. Transport is a major area of human activity which is directly linked to the environment. Explosion of human population has led to the development of more and more means of surface and rail transport. Those means of transport drink a lot of fossil fuel and produce pollution. Illegal cutting and selling of wood and trade of body parts of animals are irresponsible and dangerous social practice. The Tata Energy Research Institute has estimated that economic losses due to soil degradation, disease due to pollution, and forest degradation cause serious loss per year, amounting to near about 100,000 crores. However, many societies and government organizations during recent years have came forward to protect natural resources. Social forestry, joint forest management, one panchayat, and water harvesting are growing examples of social and government actions for the protection of natural environment. So these are the various other areas of social activities where natural resources are exploited without any thought of protection of environment. With these activities, we end our today's class. Now let us recap what we have learned in this chapter. We have learned that nature absorbs and assimilates whatever man leaves to it in the form of waste or refuse. Fast growth in human population has led to the fast rate of consumption of natural resources and creation of waste. We have learned that energy is the basics of industrial civilization. Modern civilization can no longer exist without energy. We have learned that sources of energy can be classified into two types, that is, primary and renewable. We have learned that human beings need shelter to protect them against various types of environmental changes. The permanent shelter for human habitat is called as housing. Due to fast growth of human population, increased the production and consumption of industrial goods. This led to setting up of industries. Industries consume energy for running of their machines. Waste from industries pollute air, water and land. Automobile industries produce vehicles that further consume fossil fuel and causes pollution. Our food, shelter, clothing and industrial material are mainly derived from nature's air, water, sunlight, animals, minerals, etc. Due to increase in population, these are used up faster than these are replenished, leading to their depletion. I hope that you all have understood how our human activities and population growth on various areas are affecting the natural resources. Thank you all for joining the class.